Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel where we use RC3 as a technique to explore various concepts. This is the third part of the SCUCJFI video series where we are talking about how do we educate people, human beings and students. In the second part we ended up at this point where we talked about what is tree bank, where we essentially talked about how all the subjects are connected with each other. So mathematics is used to model the scientific experimentation. You want to explore a certain aspect of nature, you create a research problem, and you define an experiment or you design an experiment to understand how the world operates. For that experiment, you define your measures, which is what are the things you want to measure, and the metrics, which is what you use to measure them. For example, I use kilograms to measure mass. Then you conduct the scientific experiment, tabulate your results, use mathematics to formulate uh, what the results mean and how the quantities get connected. For example, a physical domain. Then you use technology or you create technology using the principles of science and the principles of nature. For example, you can create an automobile using a physical domain, you can create an aeroplane using Bernoulli's principle and so on. And then you set up an engineering process to mass produce that technology and distribute it all over the planet. That way, Edison's light bulb is not a museum piece in his in his factory or laboratory. It's actually there in every single room in every single house on the planet. And that requires engineering to mass produce it with the same quality and the same consistency and so on. A business typically runs a technology or an engineering process to create, produce and distribute the products all over the planet. And arts is comes in terms of the architecture, the design, the look and feel, the colors, all of those aspects, the usability and so on. So everything gets connected into one big framework to create a product. So it's important that we understand how all of these parts work together, which means there's mathematics in almost everything you have. There's similarly science in everything you have. There's business in everything you have. Because you typically buy things from a shop somewhere. There's technology, engineering, and art in almost everything that you have in use. So it's important to understand the interconnection. Then you'll be able to appreciate, the thing well. So first question is, do you feel that full stream skills will be made mandatory in an AI future, where when AI handles a lot of the low level jobs and mass manages them. For example, a lot of the engineering can be done by AI, but things like what kind of technology should we create or what kind of problems do we need to solve and so on would still may not be completely within the AI domain. So probably human enterprise would shift into those areas. So that is where I'm, posing a question. Does full stream skill look like a mandatory capability in an AI future that you would develop within students? A second thing is, should we teach stream in an integrated manner? For example, I've talked to, you know, engineering students who passed out of college after 5 years of engineering. You ask them what is engineering, they don't even know the definition. So you really wonder what they've been actually trying to do over there, and what the professors have been teaching them. Uh, so maybe there is a case to actually start with a framework like this and then start teaching them, subjects. Should we review the mapping between scientific principles and technologies? This is a bit of an interesting question. If you take, for example, the phone. Initially, you had a rotary phone, then you had a carbon button phone. All of these were wired connections. You had to physically connect your phone through a wire to the other phone. Only then you could talk to the other person. Then you got wireless technology, and then you got IP based technology. So as the principles of science changed, the technology using which you built the phone kept changing. and of course that led to a change in the engineering process. But the point is, there is a case to be made where you're looking at what scientific principles you're using to build a technology and what kind of engineering processes you're looking to mass produce the technology. So that is where I'm also looking at or suggesting that we should review the technology engineering mapping that we're currently using on the planet. And of course, how do we learn to align business and art to technology engineering? Is there a better structure we can have to align businesses, the structure of business and the structure of art to technology and engineering? So do think about these questions and post your responses in the comments below. Would love to see what you guys think about this. Moving forward, there are two more very critical sets of skills I think students need to learn to become fully ready for their jobs once they complete college. One is have a very good understanding of what the space you're living in. So the land, water, air, the continents, the countries, what is available where, right? What are the kind of people? What is the geopolitical situation? How get an understanding of the world we live in, and also, since we are essentially going to become more space oriented, it might help to get a basic understanding of astronomy as well, and where the Earth is and what surrounds the Earth. So that might be a really necessary core skill which will be required in the future. Another very, very important skill which is necessary irrespective of what the time is, it's been a skill needed from time immemorial, uh, is the ability to communicate clearly. So clear and crisp communication, very clearly articulating what you want to say. For example, you solve a maths problem, great, but are you able to very clearly articulate the solution in such a way that it's easy to understand, that it's not too lengthy, you're not just going on and on and on. You're able to crisply within 5 lines say exactly what you want to say. That is a very powerful skill that will be more and more necessary in the future as things as the complexity of the world keeps increasing with AI and so on. Right? So I leave you with this. If you guys want to join my course, you can join. My details are here. Um, the part that I talked to you about SCUCJFI is a core part of the student youth and life empowerment program. It's one of the components there. The overall program is about has about 5 or 6 additional components beyond that. I just introduced this because I felt this would be extremely useful for everybody. So I decided to just share it in a video series. And the hope is that parents and students will be able to use something like this to to much better manage their education uh, and their life. So we'll end this series with this.